Hello, I'm Lee Glazer, and for nearly a dozen years, I was curator of American art at the Smithsonian's Freer Gallery, where I was privileged to oversee the world's finest collection of work by James McNeill Whistler, including his notorious decorative interior, Harmony in Blue and Gold, the Peacock Room. Today, I've been asked to say a few words in honor of Whistler's 186th birthday, and what a pleasure it would have been to do so in the artist's own neighborhood of Chelsea. As it is, I, like so many of you, am at home, which for me is Washington, D.C., and I've spent almost all of the past 4 months with plenty of time to contemplate my own shortcomings as an interior designer and decorator. Whistler would not approve. Being at home has also been an opportunity to reflect on Whistler's decorative masterpiece, its transatlantic afterlife, and to think about how Whistler fits into our pandemic and, we hope, post-pandemic world. The Peacock Room was originally a dining room at 49 Prince's Gate in Kensington. The owner, Frederick Leyland, had hired decorator Thomas Jekyll to design the room as a showcase for his blue and white Chinese porcelain collection and a painting by Whistler, the aptly named The Princess from the Land of Porcelain. When Jekyll's work was nearly complete, Whistler was asked to devise a color scheme for the woodwork. But he quickly moved beyond the narrow remit of this commission, and he made Jekyll's and Leyland's room his own, covering literally every surface with intricate patterns inspired by peacock plumage. Leyland was not pleased. It was all just too much, and he refused to pay the artist his full fee. Whistler declared Leyland his sworn enemy. Later, he observed that even though the room was a masterpiece, it had brought him nothing but bad luck in the years following its completion. Now, that wasn't altogether true, of course. The Peacock Room achieved instant notoriety and even acclaim. Whistler's frenemy, Oscar Wilde, repressed all of the sordid stories of art and money and ruined relationships. And during his 1882 lecture tour of the United States, he called the Peacock Room the finest thing in artistic color since Correggio. He went on to praise Whistler for using color as a universally understood language that, as Wilde said, might forge a common intellectual atmosphere between all countries. Yet even Wilde, who knew that the Peacock Room had been inspired by multiple sources, including Chinese porcelain, Japanese lacquer, and Byzantine mosaics, even Wilde couldn't have predicted the dynamic cross-cultural future of the room itself. Since its completion by Whistler in 1877, the Peacock Room has been a dining room in Victorian London, an aesthetic laboratory in Gilded Age Detroit, and a period room in a museum, the Freer Gallery in Washington. Museum founder Charles Freer purchased the Peacock Room in 1904, and first he reassembled it in his Michigan mansion, where he used it to display ceramics not just from China, but from all over Asia and the Near East. When he established his museum on the National Mall, Freer stipulated that the Peacock Room be situated at the literal meeting point of galleries dedicated to American art and those dedicated to the arts of China. Like Wilde, Freer believed that Whistler's art united East and West, past and present, through a common language of beauty that in an ideal world would be universally accessible and appreciated. Well, we certainly don't live in that ideal world. And Whistler's art for art's sake may seem today, especially at this particular moment in history, hopelessly escapist or even irrelevant. Yet, like all great works of art, the Peacock Room has remained a potent source of inspiration, and it's proven surprisingly amenable to multiple points of view and new interpretations. Recently, the room inspired painter Darren Waterston to create his own immersive interior, Filthy Lucre, which reimagines the Peacock Room as a resplendent ruin, collapsing under its own material and creative and psychological and economic excesses. commissioned by Mass MoCA in 2014 and subsequently presented at the Freer Sackler. Filthy Lucre opened at the V&A this winter. Fortunately, it will be back on view when the museum reopens this fall, and I hope that you'll all see it then. I hope I can see it again then. So far from being a static icon of the aesthetic movement, an heirloom of the artist, to use Whistler's own terminology, the Peacock Room lives on, fulfilling the artist's vision of himself as a painter of the future. So let's raise our glasses to Whistler and to the future. Happy birthday, James McNeill Whistler, and many happy returns.